I come finally to indirect constructions with the dative. This isn't something that I offer to the new learners for whom I began this video, but it follows from what I've said, so I will continue. First, I should define indirect construction. An indirect construction is a sentence of which the subject is it. As ever, here are some English examples of indirect construction. It is raining. It is cold. It is boring. And have a look at this one. It is necessary for Anthony to drink water. This last, it is necessary for Anthony to drink water, is a very clumsy construction in English, and whenever you see a sentence like this, you can be sure that someone has been learning Latin or is imitating someone else who has been learning Latin. This last type of construction doesn't work well in English and is generally to be avoided. However, it is a fair reflection of how things are done in Latin. Let's then have a closer look at the sentence, it is necessary for Anthony to drink water. The subject is it. The person affected by the verb is Anthony, and notice that he is an indirect object. It is necessary for Anthony. In English, you put for in front of it to show that it's an indirect object. To show that he is an indirect object in Latin, of course, you use the dative case, but I'll come to that. The action referenced by the verb is the infinitive to drink, and depending from this infinitive is the further object water. There it is. It is necessary for Anthony to drink water. Let's see how this works in Latin. Necessa est Antonio aquam bibere. Necessa est. It is necessary. That is an impersonal verb. Notice that Antonio is in the dative. Antonius becomes Antonio. If you look at the table on the left, hunt for anything ending in O, and you'll find a singular dative in the second declension. Antonius is a second declension, so necessa est Antonio aquam bibere. It is necessary for Anthony to drink water. Here are some further examples of these indirect constructions. There are other kinds that don't take the dative, but here are some that do take the dative. Dicere puellae libet. The closest I can get to a literal meaning for this is, it is desirous for the girl to speak, and that is a terrible mouthful. It's a terrible mouthful in English, and it borders on the incomprehensible. All I'll say in its defence is that you shouldn't judge Latin syntax from how it looks in English. You should judge it from how it looks in Latin. And this mouthful utterance in English is reduced in Latin to 3 words. Dicere puellae libet. But however it is in Latin, you need to rewrite that sentence in English into something like, the girl wishes to speak. So you turn girl from an indirect object into the subject of the sentence, and everything else follows from that. Exire grumioni licet. It is allowed for Grumio to go out. Unlike the first, this sentence doesn't come close to the incomprehensible, but it is clumsy, and I hope you can see why the term Latinate is so often derogatory. It describes a kind of English that might as well be dead. Once more, you translate this by taking Grumio out of the dative case and putting him back in as the subject. Grumio may go out, or Grumio can go out, or Grumio is allowed to go out. And a last example, Cantare servis placent. It is pleasing for the slaves to sing. This does just about work in English, but it doesn't work very well, and so once again you take servis out of the dative plural and you make it into the subject of a new English sentence, something which represents the same meaning as the Latin but does so in a different way. Try, the slaves like singing. And that is it. There is more I can say about the dative. Perhaps there's more I should say about the dative, but this will do as a brief overview, and that's all I promised at the beginning of this video. So this will do as a brief overview to what the dative is and what the dative does. I'll finish by repeating the 3 points I made earlier. In order to avoid difficulty with the dative case, you must do these 3 things. You must learn the endings for each declension. You can't avoid this. Even if rote learning of tables is seriously out of fashion, and even if it was never that effective, it does remain for certain things, and particularly for the endings of the nouns and verbs, something of high and permanent value. So do learn the endings of the nouns for each declension. Second, learn into which declension each noun falls. You must get into the habit of doing this. It will save you a lot of trouble later on. It will save a fair bit in the present. Third, be aware of context. Quite often, you won't, at first glance, be able to tell if ancilli is a singular dative or a nominative plural. You'll get this by looking at the sentence in itself, or, in some cases, you'll get it by looking at the surrounding material. I think, however, I've now said enough. Therefore, I will thank you for having watched this video. I hope you will find time to watch my other videos on Latin, and when I have got round to making them, to watch my videos on Greek. Thank you, and for the moment, goodbye.